Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have a really cute milk box template that I'm sharing with you, and this is great for party favors, but it's also great when you have larger items because this box does resize pretty large, so it's going to be a lot larger than a lot of other box templates on my site, but of course you can also easily resize it smaller for small gifts as well. But let's go ahead and get started. You are going to find the link for this template in the video description, as well as links for the supplies that I'm using today. And so once you have that file, go ahead and upload it to Cricut Design Space and add it to your canvas. And you're going to notice that there are two different sizes for the milk boxes. The smaller size is going to fit on a letter size 8.5 by 11 paper. And then for the larger sizes, you're going to need 12 by 12 paper. But both of the files are exactly the same except for the size, so you're going to edit them both the same way. So go ahead and add whichever file that you're using to your canvas. And once you have it here, it's going to look something like this. Right here, I have the smaller box canvas here, but like I said, the larger is going to look the same. It's just going to be a little bit different in size. So go ahead and ungroup your layers. And once those layers are ungrouped, you need to go ahead and change all of these lines that you see to score lines. And that's going to be really easy. I have them all grouped together. So just click on this group of lines right here and go to your operation and change that to score. And then click right above here where I've got all of these grouped together with that bottom piece so that you can attach those together. And we're going to do the same thing for this box here. So we're going to click on the group of lines first and change those to score. And then click on that whole group together and go ahead and attach those. And now this piece right here that you see, this is if you want to add a gift tag to it. And so if you don't want to add a gift tag, you can just delete this. But I do want to show you how you can use Cricut pens to write on this. I left it blank so you can customize it yourself. So I'm just going to write happy birthday on this one. I'm going to put these on two different layers, the text. Okay, so once you write your text, you are going to need to change this to a writing style font. So if you go over here to your fonts, and if you filter right here, you can filter for all of the writing styles in Cricut Design Space. Now a lot of these you are going to have you're going to need Cricut access for, or you're going to have to pay for it. If you notice the little green A, there are a couple free ones in here, so you can scroll, or at least there used to be. I think there still are some. But I actually have some free writing fonts that I've downloaded on my computer, which I'm going to use. I just wanted to show you how to find those. And I will link to those in the video description. You're going to see a post for writing with your Cricut, and that's going to have 10 different links for free writing fonts that you can download. So I'm going to go to my system, and I'm just going to find one of those by typing in the name, and I'm going to change that. So this is not a true writing font, so we do have to change the operation to pen, but it looks fantastic when it writes because it's so thin you're not going to see those outlines. And I'm going to go ahead and change this font as well. And then we need to change the basic cut to pen. And now right here, if you're using like a thicker pen or a different color pen, you can find the pen that you're using and change them here. And if you're going to use two different colors, it is important to change each of the colors of your pen. That way your Cricut knows which color to write with like each word. So I'm just going to resize these right here to make them fit within this circle. We're almost there. And now I just want to center those words. So I'm just going to go right here, and we are going to center those. And I'm actually going to select all of these so that I can center them within this circle as well. I'm just going to bring them down just a little bit. And as soon as you have them where you like them, you are going to need to attach your writing text to this white layer right here. But this is grouped with the pink layer, so go ahead and ungroup those first. And then you'll need to select this white circle right here, and then you'll need to select all of your text. And you can just hold down Shift to select more than one item together when you're in the Layers panel here. And then you do need to attach that text onto that layer. That way your Cricut knows where to write. So these are all the changes or modifications that you need to make for this to be ready to go. And if you do not have a scoring tool, instead of changing these to score lines, you can delete them. But I highly recommend using a scoring tool because you're going to know exactly where to fold on the box so everything lines up perfectly. But if you don't have one, you can still make it work. It's just going to be a little more difficult to assemble. So go ahead and click on Make It. And like I said, the smaller one, we can use letter size paper. So if you have some really cute letter size paper, this is a good use for it. So I'm going to show you how you can change your paper size. And right here, whenever you're using pens, you do want to make sure that you see the design exactly how it should be right here on your mat before cutting. So if your words were not on this circle right here, it's because you didn't attach them. So you need to go back and attach them. And so right here, we're going to use a letter size sheet of paper. So we're just going to change that to letter size. And it's automatically going to change this one because these use the same paper. It's each side is a different side of the box. Okay, so everything looks good and it's ready to cut. So let's go ahead and cut everything out and then we'll assemble these. When using pens with your Cricut or even the scoring tool, the design space is going to let you know which tool to insert and where. So just make sure that you pay attention and follow those prompts as you're cutting these. That way you know exactly when to put your pen in and your scoring tool. And I highly recommend using a scoring stylus or the scoring wheel with this project because it's going to make it so much easier to assemble and everything is going to line up a lot better. But when you are using a scoring tool with pattern paper, it's always best to go ahead and place that paper with the pattern side down. The scoring tool can scrape off some of the patterns depending on what type of paper you have. So I just always put it the pattern side down. And I'm going to go ahead and start with gluing the two tag pieces together and make sure you line up those holes when you glue those. And then you can use your brayer to attach those really well and set that aside. And now you're going to want to fold on all of the score lines. And so when folding on your score lines, for most of them, you're going to want the paper with the pattern side down, and then you're going to just fold up. So make sure that you go ahead and fold on all of those straight score lines that you see, and make sure that you do get a really good fold in those. But for those diagonal score lines that you have, you're going to need to flip your paper over, and then you're going to fold them that way. And when you fold the diagonal lines, you need to make sure that you really get a really good fold on these because it's going to make it so much easier to assemble. So with the paper turned this way, you're going to fold on both of those diagonal pieces and that little straight line in between them. And then you're just going to repeat this for the other side of the box. And so for this project, you don't want to use a heavy cardstock for this box because it's going to be a little too bulky. You probably want to use either like a light cardstock or you can use like the pattern paper like I'm using here. And I love using pattern paper, so this is a perfect box to use for that. So you can really make this match any theme, which is what's great about it. But when you do use a thinner paper like the pattern paper, it can be trickier to cut because it's a lot more delicate. So if you're having issues with cutting or scoring it, first check your mat. You want to use a really clean mat for this. If you've got any grooves or like residue left on it, then it can get caught when it's scoring and tear a little bit or even with cutting. So if you are having an issue with scoring, then you know it's your mat. And then if you're still having issues cutting and your mat is fine, then you'll need to clean your blade. And if that doesn't work, then go ahead and replace your blade if it's pretty dull. And then after you fold your score lines, you're going to line the boxes up side by side, and then you're going to glue them together using those tab pieces. But make sure that you glue the tab pieces to the inside of the box because you want to hide those. You don't want those on the outside. And as you glue these down, you want to make sure that the box is lined up. So I usually use hot glue for boxes, but found that my cardstock glue really works better for this box. The hot glue dried a little too fast for me and it made it really difficult for me to line the pieces up perfectly. So my box turned out a little wonky and uneven. So I don't recommend hot glue at all for this. Then you want to fold on those vertical score lines to make a box shape. And then you'll glue the other tab pieces to the inside of the box so that you can attach the whole box together. And again, you want to make sure that you line the box pieces up really well. And then you're going to fold those bottom pieces in, and it doesn't matter which ones you fold in first, just as long as they're opposite of each other. And then you'll glue the other two on top to close the bottom of the box. And then you're going to want to press down on the inside of your box to get that adhered really well. And if you made this box a lot smaller and you can't fit your hand inside, then just use like a pen or something to press down to kind of help adhere that. And now your box is all ready to close. So you're just going to fold the sides in like you would for a milk carton, and then fold the flap over. And then you'll loop a string through the holes to keep it together. And if you are using the tag, then go ahead and add that as well, and then tie a pretty little bow. And this box can be resized as small as you need it. And I'm going to go ahead and show you some different sizes. But first, let me show you how to resize the boxes in Cricut Design Space. Okay, so to resize your boxes, I have the smaller box template here, and both of these box templates are the same width. The only difference is the height of the boxes. So if you click right here, you're going to see that this width is 7.3. And so I'm just going to resize these about an inch smaller. So all you're going to do is select all of your layers together, and you're just going to drag this arrow right here to make those smaller. So it's really easy to do. You just want to make sure you resize everything together so everything keeps the same proportions. And then you can click on this to see what that width is. So it's still a little bit bigger than an inch smaller, so I'm going to resize it just a little bit smaller. And so if you have a particular size in mind, this is how you can see that size. Or like if you have a particular width inside for the box, like say you want it only to be 2 inches wide when it's folded, then go ahead and make a shape right here. And that width is already 2 inches. So now you can line this shape up right here. And I'm not going to click on that shape when I resize, but I am going to click on everything else. Here, I'll just do it. And now as I resize, I think I lost my connection, huh? I can use that to kind of guide the size of the box shape. So if you have something that you know you need to fit inside and you need it that shape for that. So this is pretty close. You can make it exact if you want. But those are just some ways to resize it to kind of figure out the size that you need. And you're going to do the exact same thing for the larger box. Like I said, the only difference in the larger box is it's taller. So with the full-size taller box, you see that this is a pretty big size box. I can actually fit a small stuffed animal inside of it. So there's so much that you can do with this box and so much that you can add in here. When I resized this box about 1 inch in width, like I just showed you in the video, it's now a little bit smaller, but it still fits some decent sized items like these knee-high socks. And you can see the difference in these two larger size boxes here. But you can still go a lot smaller with this box template. You just aren't going to be able to make it larger than the size where you upload it into Cricut Design Space. And then here's a comparison of the smaller box template with the two different sizes that I made. So again, you can go a lot smaller, but you just can't go larger. Well, I hope that you guys enjoy these. And if you guys have any questions on how to make or assemble them, then make sure to leave those in the comments and I'll answer them there for you guys. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.